आपति महादेव की जय। बिंद्रावन बिहारी लाल की जय। आज शक्ति जगदम्बा देवी मैया की जय। श्री पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय। सबको ही जय सीताराम। Let me this morning extend a very warm and a very cordial welcome to each and everyone who have joined us here this morning physically at the Mandir, our footsteps having led us here in the presence of Bhagwan. For all of the devotees who are joining us either on YouTube or on Facebook, Shubh Swagatam. May Bhagwan bless us all. This morning as we've come to the Mandir, either physically or virtually, many of us would have different experiences, different feelings, different emotions. But whatever be our circumstance, we offer to Bhagwan our entirety of our being and indeed of ourselves. I invite us all to now stand. And as we do so, let us gaze at the murtis before us. And as we say each and every Sunday, whichever form of Bhagwan that you find most endearing, whichever form you find most appealing, I invite you to gaze at that form. Capture that wonderful image in your heart and in your mind. And then close the eyes, the windows to this physical world, and go within. And as we go within now, assuming that position of reverence, that prayerful attitude and demeanor, we engage in invocation. Hari Om Shri Ganeshaya Namah. Om Shri Saraswatye Namah. Om Shri Guru Charana Kamalebhyo Namaha. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvara Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Kshama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swadha Namostute Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsajanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagat Guru Nagindraharaya Trilochanaya Bhasmangaragaya Maheshwaraya Nityaya Shuddhaya Digambaragaya Tasmai Nakaraya Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandramabhirase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaye Pataye Namaha. Om Manojavam Marutatulia Vegyam Jetindriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Vatatmajam Vanadiyutamukam Shri Ramadutam Shirishi Namami. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Bhaitiye, please resume your seats as we engage together now in Ganesh Vandana as we glorify Ganesh Bhagwan. The microphone, lead vocal, what number is that?
1.
Number 1.
Jai Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganapati, Jai 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 Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganapati, Jai Jai Ganapati Vigna Vinashanhari, Ganapati Vigna Vinashanhari, Ganapati Vigna गणपति विघ्न विनाशनहारे गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति जय जय लंबोदर पीतांबर सोही हरिमणि मुकुट नयन रत्नारी लंबोदर पीतांबर सोही हरिमणि मुकुट नयन रत्नारी गजमणि माल गली बिच सोही गजमणि माल गली बिच सोहे भाल लाल में चंद्र कलारी गणपति विघ्न विनाशनहारी गणपति विघ्न विनाशनहारी गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति जय जय मोरख लीठ दीठ जननी जब ठुमक चलत नूपुर झनकारी मोरख लीठ दीठ जननी जब ठुमक चलत नूपुर झनकारी रिधि सीधी लो छवर दुलावत रिधि सीधी लो छवर दुलावत सुर समोह लगी ओठ सुकारी गणपति विघ्न विनाशनहारी गणपति विघ्न विनाशनहारी गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति जय 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 गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति जय 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 गणेश जय गणपति जय जय
प्रेम से बोले श्री गणेश भगवान की जय. As we continue with Kirtan, as we continue to glorify Bhagwan, let us all join together, let us all blend our voices. Is it the Madhur Ashtakam we're doing now? Yes. Let us all join together in the Madhur Ashtakam. Tomorrow being a wonderful, most auspicious celebration of Krishna Janmashtami, let us all focus on Bhagwan Shri Krishna as we glorify him.
अधरं मधुरं वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरं मधुराधिपतिरखिलं मधुरम् वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरं मधुराधिपतिरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतिरखिलं मधुरं वीणु वेणुर्मधुरा पाणिर्मधुरः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरं मधुराधिपतिरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतिरखिलं मधुरं करणं मधुरं करणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं रमणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शयितं मधुरं मधुराधिपतिरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतिरखिलं मधुरं गुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीची मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतिरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतिरखिलं मधुरं गोपी मधुरा लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरं मधुराधिपतिरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतिरखिलं मधुरं गोपा मधुरा गावो मधुरा व्यष्टिर्मधुरा श्रीष्टिर्मधुरा दलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरं मधुराधिपतिरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतिरखिलं मधुरम् अधराधिपतिरखिलं मधुरम्
प्रेम से बोलिए बिंद्रावन बिहारी लाल की जय. I would invite the members of the group if they can lead us now in mantras of the Sandhya as we engage in the recitation of the Sanskrit verses and English translations. We also perform the rituals as we go along. As we do so, I invite us all to focus on our inner energy, to focus on that divine effulgence that is Bhagwan, as we prepare ourselves for that celebration tomorrow of Janmashtami. We join together now in mantras of Sandhya.
ॐ परमात्मने नमः ॐ परमात्मने नमः ॐ परमात्मने नमः ॐ सहना भवतु सहना भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति 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 हरि ओम्.
Let us be saved together, let us be reared together, and united and strengthened together too. Let us not be jealous of each other.
We engage now in Archman. As each mantra is being recited, we visualize water in our right palm. Take our palm, touch to our lips, and sip the water as each mantra is recited.
ॐ अमृतोपस्तरनमसि स्वाहा ॐ अमृतापिधानमसि स्वाहा ॐ सत्यं यशः श्री मयि श्री श्रयतां स्वाहा.
O God, protector and supporter as you are of the universe, be kind and bestow upon us truth, fame, beauty, and prosperity.
Continuing at Archman, once more we visualize water in our right palm, place to our lips, and sip this water as the mantra is recited.
ॐ शन्नो देवीरभीष्टया आपो भवन्तु पीठये शम्योरभिस्रवन्तु नः.
Omnipresent God, Be kind to us and grant us the happiness and objects we need.
Continuing now at purification, we visualize water in our left palm. Using the third finger of our right hand or the ring finger, we dip into the water on each occasion, touching the various parts of the body. We start with the mouth.
Om Vak Vak.
Our nose,
Om Pranah Pranah.
eyes,
Om Chakshu Chakshu.
ears,
Om Srotram Srotram.
our navel,
Om Nabhi.
our heart,
Om Hridayam.
our throat,
Om Kantah.
head,
Om Shirah.
both arms,
Om Bahubhayam Yashobalam.
our palm and back of palm,
Om Karkala Kar Preshthe.
O God, let my words, life, eyes, ears, neck, heart, throat, and head be pure and powerful, and arms strong and renowned. Let my palm and back of palm perform religious rites.
In the same manner, we continue with Marajana, and once more visualizing water in our left palm, and using the ring finger from our right hand, we touch into the water and touch the various parts of the body as we go along. We start with the head.
Om Bhupunatu Shirasi.
Eyes,
Om Bhuah Punatu Netrayo.
throat,
Om Swaha Punatu Kanthe.
heart,
Om Mahah Punatu Hridaye.
our navel,
Om Janah Punatu Nabhyam.
both legs,
Om Tapah Punatu Padayo.
again our head,
Om Satyam Punatu Punah Shirasi.
now our entire body.
Om Kham Brahma Punatu Sarvatra.
Let the region of Pu help us to purify our head. Let the region of Buaha help us to purify our eyes. Let the region of Swaha help us to purify our throat. Let the region of Maha help us to purify our heart. Let the region of Janaha help us to purify our navel. Let the region of Satya help us to purify our legs. Let the region of Satya again help us to purify our heads. Let Brahma help us to purify every place.
We now sit upright as we engage in pranayam.
Om Bhu. Om Bhuvaha. Om Swaha. Om Mahaha. Om Janaha. Om Tapaha. Om Satyam. Om Ritam Cha Satyam Cha Abhidyat Tapasu Adhyajayata Tato Ratraya Jayata Tataha Samudro Arnavahat Om Samudrat Arnavat Adhi Samvatsaro Ajayata Aghoratrani Vidhadati Visvesha Nishato Vashi Om Surya Chandrama Saudhata Yatha Purvam Kalpaya Devam Cha Prithvim Cha Antariksham Adho Swaha.
Tendency for creation arose in the divine mind of the absolute God. Then came chaos, then came subtle water, then day and night. The sun, the moon, heaven, world, and the horizon were created as were in the previous creation.
Om Udutyam Jata Vedasam Devam Vahanti Ketavaha Drishe Vishwaya Suryam Om Udvayam Tamasaha Pari Swaha Pashyanta Uttaram Devam Devatra Suryam Ganama Jyotirutamam ॐ चित्रं देवानाम् उर्गारनीकं चक्षुर्मित्रस्य वरुणैस्याग्नि आप्राध्या पृथिवी अन्तरिक्षं सूर्य आत्मा जगतः तश्चुषश्च स्वाहा.
O God, you are beyond darkness. The luminous sun represents you. Everything in this universe proclaims your glory. The wise are surprised and illuminated by your supreme nature. You have given vision to the sun, the sea god, the fire god. The heaven, the middle region, and the earth are being sustained by you. You are the soul of the universe.
ॐ तक्षुर्देवहितं पुरास्तात् शुक्रमुचरा पश्येम शरदः शतं जीवेम शरदः शतं शृणुयाम शरदः शतं प्रभवाम शरदः शतम् अधीनास्यामः शरदः शतं भूयश्च शरदः शतात्.
Omniscient God, let us see for 100 years. Let us live for 100 years. Let us hear for 100 years. Let us live for more than 100 years.
We bow our head in reverence as each of the following mantras are being chanted. We pay obeisance or respects to Brahma, to the teachers, to the rishis, to the devatas, and to the Vedas.
ॐ ब्रह्मणे नमः. ॐ आचार्येभ्यो नमः. ॐ ऋषिभ्यो नमः. ॐ देवेभ्यो नमः. ॐ वेदेभ्यो नमः. ॐ सर्वेभ्यो देवेभ्यो नमः. ॐ सर्वेभ्यो देवेभ्यो नमः. ॐ सर्वेभ्यो देवेभ्यो नमः.
Salutation to Brahma, to preceptor, to sages, to gods, to Vedas.
We join together now as we recite the Gayatri Mantra. Let us sit upright. This most powerful, this most potent mantra we recite together, chanting with one voice.
ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्. ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्. ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्.
Let us be in union with your luminous nature, who is the creator of the three worlds and giver of our intellect.
Pratna.
ॐ नमः शम्भवाय च मयोभवाय च नमः शङ्कराय च मयस्कराय च नमः शिवाय च शिवतराय च. ॐ वीर्यमसि वीर्यं मयि धेहि. ॐ बलमसि बलं मयि धेहि. ॐ तेजोऽसि तेजो मयि धेहि. ॐ ओजोऽसि ओजो मयि धेहि. ॐ मन्युरसि मन्यं मयि धेहि. ॐ साहसि साहो मयि धेहि.
Salutation to the Almighty, the giver of bliss, happiness, and peace. May we be blessed with energy, strength, glory, courage, and patience.
With all of the turmoil and difficulty that is being experienced worldwide, and particularly in this country, let us all join together now as we chant the universal peace prayer.
सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भूयात् सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् नन्दन्तु सर्वभूतानि निरातङ्कानि सन्तु च प्रीतिरस्तु परस्परं सिद्धिरस्तु च कर्मणां स्वस्यस्तु राज्ञो नित्यपः सम्प्रजाभ्यस्तदेवास्तु स्वस्यस्तु द्विपदे नित्यं शान्तिरस्तु चतुष्पदे शान्तिरस्तु नो देवस्य भूर्भुवः स्वः शिवं तथा सर्वतः शान्तिरस्तु नः सौम्य भवन्तु भूतानि त्वं देव जगतः स्रष्टा पाता दैव त्वमेव हि प्रजापालय देवेश शान्तिं कुरु जगत्पते यो मे अध्यास्निहीयते तस्य शिवमस्तु सदा भुवि यश्च मां द्वेष्टे लोके अस्मिन् सोऽपि भद्राणि पश्यन्तु ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरि ओम्.
Let there be good to all, let all be free from sickness, let all see good and let none suffer. Let all be happy and fearless. Let there be sympathy for each other and success for all work. Let there be prosperity to the ruler who protects the people every day and also to the people. Let the bipeds and the quadrupeds be prosperous every day. Let there be peace in God's and in the three worlds. Let us and all other beings have peace everywhere. Creator and sustainer as you are of the world, you encourage godliness and establish peace amongst the people. Who is my friend today? Let him be in peace. And who is my enemy? Let him also be in peace.
Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.
प्रेम से बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय. As you know, devotees, throughout the course of this year, we have been engaged deliberately in a series of lectures and discourses. We aim to do so every month, that focuses on health and on well-being and on lifestyle illnesses and what we need to look out for and what we should do as preventative measures. As part of that series, we've had several professionals join with us on a Sunday morning, including but not limited to Dr. Keshav Gyan, Dr. Michael Rampal, Dr. Rabindranath Maharaj, and others, speaking to us about various diseases and illnesses and what we need to look out for, their treatment, and what can be done to prevent them. An integral part of health and wellness is the diet and nutrition, what we eat, what we don't eat, what we should be eating, and things of that nature. And this morning, we are very pleased to have one of our very own, a young lady. Well, I will consider her young because I knew her to be quite young when I was around. Young lady who has been a registered and practicing dietitian for more than 8 years. Quite apart from her undergraduate degree, she possesses a master's degree specializing in food science and technology. She's also a teacher at the secondary school level where she teaches food, nutrition, and health in that college. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium Ms. Shivani Sinanan. So Shivani is sorting out with the technical crew some of the items which I suspect will be the slides and so on. We must understand sometimes, particularly As Hindus, the regular diet that we're accustomed to, which includes, among other things, basab shot in large measure, many of us favor the doubles and so on. And there's nothing wrong with things in moderation, but it is the overconsumption that sometimes leads us down a pathway. We also, very many of us, have a sweet tooth, and sometimes a meal is not complete unless we have something sweet to go with it as well. And all of those things we need to bear in mind in terms of when we consume that, if we should consume it at all, and the quantities that we consume. And I'm saying this deliberately because we have a number of festivals upcoming, and yagya here at the Mandir, including Ganesh Utsav. And we know in particular, Ganesh Bhagwan is favorite of the laddu and the modak. And very often for myself, and I'm not casting any aspersions on anybody, after puja is finished, I end up with a whole basket of laddu. And if I were to consume all of that, then I would look like a laddu. So I have to be very careful that I don't overindulge as well. And that is the same for us. As great as it may taste, as wonderful, little morsels are important rather than large measure. And that is something, ready? So I'll invite Shivani up. And that is something I'd invite us on, particularly we may need to be radical someday and have the meals before the katha so that persons are not eating too late in the night. And I know that is a practice that is done by Swami Brahmaswarupanandaji, for example, when he's in India. The devotees that come, they have their meals first and then katha is done after. So I hand over now to Shivani, and please give her your apt attention. Maybe the mic needs to be lowered a little bit.
Hi, Sitaram, and good morning. Well, today's lecture is actually, my theme is everything in moderation, nothing in excess. So today I'm just going to be discussing 4 very simple points on healthy eating and food choices. Sometimes we tend to underestimate what we consume and the effect it might have on our body. So I'm not sure if, yeah. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about the 5 main nutrients, carbohydrates, protein, fats, vitamins, and minerals, some of which, when we're trying to obtain a healthy lifestyle, we tend to kind of omit some of these nutrients, but we actually need all of them. I also want to talk a little bit about sugar-based drinks as well as processed foods, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the social media trends and using our discretion when following them, right? So the first thing we're going to talk about is something called the 6 Caribbean food groups and how we could use this to do meal planning. Now, the 6 Caribbean food groups is something where we would categorize foods based on their nutrient composition, right? And we use 4 of these food groups when we are doing meal planning. Now, meal planning will sound very stressful, and to some extent, you might feel very tired when you think about doing meal planning. But we really do meal planning every day. So sometimes you'll go home and you'll watch your children and say, what will you want to eat in the morning? That's a form of meal planning, because you're trying to figure out what you're going to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But really, it's just a matter of using these food groups and creating healthy meals, right? So on the next slide, we would see a picture of these 6 Caribbean food groups. So the first one is what we call staples, right? This is the one that everybody'd like to stay away from. But staples is what gives us our major source of carbohydrates. And rarely we need carbohydrates in our diet to carry about, to do physical activity, basic work concentration. And if we don't have carbohydrates in our diet, we tend to feel very tired, and sometimes we might move a little sluggish, we may not have energy to go to the gym and all sorts of things. Now, the type of carbohydrates is what we need to be mindful of when consuming carbohydrates. So plenty times when I see people, they'll come and say, well, Shivani, you see me, I go in and cut out this flour and this rice and this pasta and all of this thing, this not good for me, and I go in on a gluten-free diet, because gluten-free is the way to go now. And it's all well and good, but you could still have your flour-based products. You still could have carbohydrates. So when we look at carbohydrates, you want to not indulge too much in what we call the refined sugars. So that is the simple sugars, when consumed in excess, could put us at risk for developing things like diabetes mellitus, overweight, obesity, and so on. So when we talk about carbohydrates, you want to look at things that are rich in dietary fiber or have what we call a low glycemic index. So it's not going to affect the blood sugar levels drastically or spike them. So we want to look at things like your gram provision. Now we live in Trinidad and Tobago, we have gram provision. It's plentiful. So things like sweet potato, your cassava, your dasheen, plantain, green figs. You also want to look at your whole wheat, whole grain options. So even if you're doing the flour-based products, you can have whole wheat sada roti. You can have multigrain or whole wheat bread. I just want to touch on a little point though. In cases where you're purchasing bread, please be mindful of where you are purchasing your bread from, because in some cases where bread is being produced in very large quantities, you tend to have certain types of colors being added to it to give it that brown whole wheat look. And in most cases, it's molasses, which is a type of sugar that we don't really want to be consuming. So when you're purchasing your carbohydrate sources, make sure you ask questions, what is in it? And look at it. Really and truly, a whole wheat bread is not supposed to be dark brown. It will have a little color, and you would see the oats, you would see the flax seeds, in some cases where they do multigrain and so on, right? Then we have our protein sources, which is another macronutrient that is important. We need it for growth and development. We get these from two sources, legumes and food from animal sources. So our legumes will consist of things like your peas and beans, as well as your nuts. Now, when we are purchasing peas and beans, we want to be mindful of the type. A lot of the canned items tend to have a brine solution in them. And if you look at the expiry date of any canned item, you would see that they have an expiry date of something like 3 years, which means that in most cases, that brine solution is seeping into your peas and beans. And in most cases, it's a high sodium solution that they use to preserve. So when we are purchasing our legumes and nuts, you try to go for the dried options. And I know sometimes it's be hard, you had to soak some of them overnight and all sorts of things. But in most cases where you can, you try to use your fresh or your dried options. Frozen options is a good idea as well, but sometimes that tends to be a little more expensive. It is a little more on the healthier side, but the dried option is, or the fresh option is always the better choice. When using nuts, nuts is an excellent source of protein. It's also a nice healthy snack that you can have. You try to go for the unsalted options as well. And then when we talk about food from animals, there are two categories there. So you have your meat sources, and then you have dairy. Now, when looking at your meat sources, please be mindful of the types of meats you're choosing. Red meat is not really an option that should be consumed. You aim more for poultry, fish, and when you are having your meat, you want to remove as much as the visible skin as possible. Yes, it might have the flavor, and that's where the flavor is, but our meat sources is where we get high amounts of cholesterol from, particularly the LDL cholesterol. When we consume high amounts of that, we could put ourselves at risk for developing cardiovascular diseases. So when we're looking at the meat options, aim for more lean cuts and look at your cooking methods. So your cooking methods are also very important. Try to aim for more dry cooking methods, so baking, broiling. We have the air fryer now, which is a great lifesaver. So you want to use more dry cooking methods when preparing meat. And of course, with dairy, you go for low fat. Always aim for low fat milk, cheese, make sure it's a low fat options. When we're looking at yogurt, yogurt is something that is considered a healthy snack. Please look at the sugar content in your yogurt, because yogurt tends to have high amounts of sugars. They also have very high amounts of colorants and very little to no really nutritive value. So the good old dahi, that does the trick. And you don't really have to have much of dahi. I know it is not the best tasting, but the same way you would flavor your plain yogurt with a little bit of honey or a little bit of fruit, you could do the same thing with dahi. It's really nutritious. And then we go on to our fruits and vegetables, which will give us our micronutrients, which is vitamins, minerals. This is the food groups that will always also give us things like antioxidants and so on that helps to protect your body against some of these communicable diseases, such as diabetes, hypertension, cancer, and so on, right? Fats and oils is another dreaded food group that, when we hear the term fat, oh gosh, it is linked to a lot of things, but our body needs fat, right? We need fat to carry out certain bodily functions, to break down some of the fat-soluble vitamins such as A, D, E, and K, so we need fat. But of course, again, like carbohydrates, we need the good fats. So when we're looking at fats, of course, you want to look at things like your vegetable-based oils, so canola, safflower. You could even use things like flaxseed and soybean and so on in very small quantities, because we really don't need that large amount of oil in when we are cooking. You want to stay away from things like butter and cooking and the golden ray, ghee, and all of these things. You want to consume those a little sparingly. Now, with some of the social media trends and the new products coming on the line, there's now olive oil. When olive oil came onto the market, well, we were drizzling olive oil in everything because it was so healthy. But you also have to do your little research, because some of these oils have very low smoking points. So what that means is that if I go to fry pylori in olive oil, I will be consuming large amounts of saturated fat. Because once those oils are exposed to very high amounts of heat for a long period of time, they are going to break down into saturated fat. Coconut oil came on the market, and we were having cold press coconut oil in everything. Coconut generally has some saturated fat in it as well, so you want to use those sparingly, and very little of it. And now we have avocado oil. Try to use the avocado oil. Avocado has the same sort of properties as olive oil. So if you try to fry with avocado oil and so on, once those oils are exposed to high amounts of heat for very long periods of time, they are going to break down into saturated fat, which is the bad fat, the fat that we really don't want to be consuming. And those you could really use for stir frying if you're making a salad dressing or something like that. But it's not really meant for if you're going to chunky something or you're going to deep fry something, right? But those would be the better options. And as we live in an age where things are always developing and so on, and we have a lot of non-stick options when it comes to pans and so on. So that kind of helps to control the amount of oil that we really use while we are cooking. And here we have something called a healthy plate. On the next image, you'll see something called a healthy plate. So one of the things I always get when somebody comes to see me, they'll say, Shivani, you could do a diet plan for me. That's the first thing a registered dietitian will hear. You could do a diet plan for me. I went by the doctor and my sugar level is high and I need a diet plan. But really and truly, a diet plan is not the answer. You could do portion control at home. So there's something called the healthy plate that we use as a guide. So on the screen, you would see that quarter of the plate, we have carbohydrates. Quarter is a protein source, and then half is vegetables, right? Now, I'll just use a typical example. Let's say we're making dal, rice, and bhaji, right? You could have quarter of your plate be in the rice or whatever carbohydrate source you would like to have there. Dal is a legume and nut, so you'll get some protein there. So your quarter of your plate will be that. And bhaji is a vegetable, right? So you could have quarter of your plate being bhaji and then quarter being fresh salad. And that way you will get a lot of dietary fiber in, and you would also get a lot of more of your vegetables in, which is sometimes a struggle for us when it comes to when we are planning meals, right? So you have the option there with that half to either have free vegetables, which is fresh vegetables, or you could have a combination of the two, which is some cooked, quarter fresh. But you just try to incorporate that. Now the size of the plate, it should be about 6 to 7 inches, the diameter of it. So it's not a very big plate. And like when you're packing your lunch and stuff for work, you could use the same measurements when estimating in your lunch kit. Now we have bento boxes, which help to portion out food very, very well. And it helps with controlling the amount and the portions that we are consuming. So those tend to help very well. But you could use a regular pot spoon. If you portion out and you use 1 pot spoon of rice, well, when you're packing your lunch kit, well, you add 1 pot spoon of rice. It's the same concept. So, more vegetables in the diet is always the best, is the aim here. The next thing I want to talk about, so we're talking about the food options and the healthier options, but oftentimes we forget the beverages. So I just want to touch a little bit on the sugar-based beverages. Now, when we talk about sugar-based beverages, I'm very sure many of you all, the two things that will come to, so I'm a teacher, I don't like to stand up and talk all the time, right? So I'll ask questions. So when we think of sugar-based beverages, what is the first thing that will come to your mind when you think of a sugary drink? Coke, great, which is a type of soft drink. What else? Juice, yeah. Anything else? Red Solo, a next soft drink and a favorite. Anybody else has any? Morby, yeah. Coffee, everything from Starbucks, yeah, very much so. Yeah, so most of the things you all call would have been things like the lattes and the frappes, what your children love. And sugar-based, everybody told me about different types of soft drinks and juices that we have. But believe it or not, there's a lot of sugar in some of the energy drinks that we have and some of the flavored waters on the market as well. Now, research is showing that on average, a person consumes 145 calories, an adult, from sugar-based drinks. Now, these drinks have refined sugar. There's no healthy sugars in it, right? And it's also showing, a study was conducted in the UK some time ago. On average, 96% of their children and adolescents, all children, all under the age of 18, they are consuming over 200 calories of sugar-based drinks. And the Diabetes Association of Trinidad and Tobago actually highlighted this. They had an image where they showed how much sugar is in these beverages. So on the next slide, I'm not sure if you could see it, sorry. So on average, a child is supposed to have 6 grams of sugar, a woman is supposed to have 7, and a man is supposed to have 9. Coca-Cola 20 ounce has 13 grams. You would also see Gatorade there, and Lucozade, which is some of the things that we consume when we're not feeling well or we are dehydrated and so on. So sugar is, these sugar-based beverages are very much in almost all of the beverages that we drink, except water. Some of the flavored waters that we consume have some small quantities of it, but if you think of it, it's flavored water, so we're not going to have one. Sometimes we would have 2 or 3 bottled waters for the day. And these flavored waters were really targeted towards the younger generations because they don't like to drink water. So we have to really consider and really pay attention to the types of drinks that we are consuming. So all of these drinks on this was sourced from Trinidad and Tobago. These are drinks that we have, and it didn't take into consideration what is available in Rituals and Starbucks, which is the frappes and the lattes, which also have very high amounts of sugar in them. So when we are looking at our food choices, we also have to look at our beverage choices, because the research is now showing that the leading cause of diabetes mellitus and obesity and so on are being linked to these sugar-based drinks as well. And then we have the highly processed foods on the market. So when we look at these highly processed foods, now if I take a slice of watermelon, right? And I put it into a blender, and I blend it into a drink. I have processed, that food has been processed, right? I made a change to it. So there are different categories of these processed foods, right? Ultra-processed is where there's little to no nutritive value in them, right? And they are very much prevalent and around us. And so when we talk about ultra-processed, it's where they use high amounts of salt, sugar, man-made colorants, man-made flavorings, and they make certain products, right? And the major source of ultra-processed products for us is the convenient foods. So you know the things like the mac and cheese, the ramen, a lot of these snacks on the market, like the cheese sticks and the corn curls, a lot of those ready-to-go cereals. those sweet cereals that we have, even the oats, like the quicker oats in the little packets and so on, all of those are ultra-processed products. And these are the things that we tend to opt for when we are doing meal planning because it's convenient, it's easy to use, it's easy for children to make. So many children now love this little cup of mac and cheese that you could pop into the microwave. They love the ramen is a trend, so much so that they have them available in bulk now, the Budok ramen. But a lot of them contain very harmful or what we call carcinogenic ingredients. Carcinogenic meaning that they have cancer-causing properties. So I'll just use ramen, for example, because ramen is something that is trending, is something that children love. The noodles that they use for that ramen is not really, it takes a longer time to digest. Then the coating that they use on that ramen to keep that nice swirly thing is of a plastic consistency. So when we add hot water to that, which is basically the sauce for the ramen, that nice plasticky consistency going into the sauce. And then we have this red pack of seasoning, which has man-made colorants in them, meaning that they're not derived from any source of food. They were made in a lab. And those dehydrated seasonings, which is probably the closest thing to real food in that ramen pack. Now I teach children, and when I talk to them, they would tell me, Miss, I have ramen. You know, ramen is good, miss, it's great. But we really have to be mindful of, the types. They love the mac and cheese as well in the little cup because it's easy to use. So we have to be really mindful of the ultra-processed foods. If you look at most of the salted snacks that are available on the market, you would see something called monosodium glutamate, which is MSG. Now, MSG is, it's FDA approved, but they have a lot of studies showing that it's actually quite harmful to our body. And most children consume a lot of those salted snacks on a daily basis, right? So we have to be mindful. I know school is opening on Monday, and one of the things parents loved, they like the idea of the convenience food, but be mindful of how often it's being consumed, the ultra-processed foods, and negotiate with your children. So for example, if you know they're gonna have some of these processed foods, add a vegetable to it. Or they have no snacks and they could have a fruit as a snack instead. Because we really have to be mindful of what goes into our body from a very young age. We are now seeing adults, early 20s, early 30s, having very high HbA1c readings. That's our reading that tells us if somebody's at risk or have diabetes mellitus. These people are also having high cholesterol levels with their LDL being very high. And then they have obesity and so on trending among children. So we really, really have to be very careful and cautious, negotiate with your children. If they are going to have the convenience foods or these highly processed foods, they need to have some sort of fresh, nutritive food to go with it as well, right? So if they are going to have the ramen, they should have some fruit in their diet. They shouldn't really be having these snacks on that day and that sort of thing. And the last thing I really want to talk about today is the social media trends and the fad diets. So fad diet is a diet that is something that might develop, and it will be promoted through people, and they'll tell us, well, you'll get fast results, you'll lose weight quickly, your blood sugar levels will go down very quickly. And generally people will see results in a very short space of time. But fad diets doesn't really promote something of a holistic approach. Most fad diets require you to restrict or omit something from your diet that is required by the body. So for example, the ketogenic diet, that was something that people have been using quite a lot. As of recently, we had the intermittent fasting, and research is now emerging showing that the intermittent fasting is having harmful effects on the body, whereby people are developing non-communicable diseases faster. We also have social media trends, the TikTok reels and and all of these different things showing, different recipes you could try, and the herbal supplements you could use, and the mixtures you could mix, and it will help with all of these things. Now, a few things I just want to point out here. A lot of the times, now we live in the Caribbean, we believe in the bush. We believe in it strongly, and nothing is wrong with it. Herbs and all of these things have been around for many, many years, and there have been results from it, for sure. The thing is, there's no specific dosage to show, or in terms of how much you could take, right? So when you see some of these trends emerging, you have to do your research, and it must be backed up by trials, clinical trials that have been, where research has been done, and you see certain, good effects of it. But you have to be mindful of these herbs and so on that you're taking, and how much you should be taking. So for example, berberine is trending a lot on the market. Berberine is a supplement that is supposed to reduce your blood sugar levels. Now there's research that shows that you could, but if you are on medication for blood sugar to maintain those levels, you're going to have some problems, because if berberine is reducing your blood sugar levels, and then let's say, for example, somebody is taking insulin, their blood sugar levels could drop extremely low. So you have to do your research when it comes to these trends that are being advertised. And I just want to point out something. You will notice on the shelf, as of late, we have all of these herbs and capsules now in a form of a tablet. So you could go to Superfarm, or you could go to anywhere actually, and get turmeric in a pill. You could get any supplement actually in the form of a tablet. Now, the reality of it is that these things are trending, and people are resorting more to it because it is having more of a positive effect on their health. But it means that these things are also being mass-produced. So they are going to put quite a lot of fertilizers and pest-resistant things into those plants before they harvest it. And then you have to consider how and what ingredients they are using to actually make those pills. So how much of that natural herb supplement are you really getting? It might actually do more harm than good. So you have to be mindful of those trends. As of recently, we also had a lot of social media trends where children always love to try these things, and it's great. It's always good to encourage them in the kitchen. So as of late, we had the chow challenge, I think, with a big bowl and a lot of fruits and stuff, and it's actually not a bad challenge. Until I saw they empty a whole packet of salt prunes into the chow. Real problems. Because salt prunes have high amounts of sodium. It also has the type of sodium that they use in salt prunes is very harmful. In some cases, some of these salt prunes, they use vetsin to give it that saltiness, and then you add in a whole pack of salt prunes to all this nice fruits and vegetables. So then what happens? And then for the children, they have a big bowl with every possible candy you could think of. And the children then go in and taking a big scoop of this candy, like it's Halloween once more, and having it. And what those candies have in it? Bare sugar. Sugar, artificial flavorings, nothing of nutritive value. So when your children are seeing some of these trends on social media, and they ask you to try it, please do your research and see what these trends are. When this spicy ramen came out, everybody wanted to do a video and do the spicy ramen challenge. It reached where they develop a spicy ramen that has 3 times the amount of pepper. Then people add in 7 pots of the pepper. And then all these children go in and trying this challenge. Those things are very harmful to your health, right? So be mindful of the social media trends. I remember a time my students telling me, Miss Sinanan, you need to try box cake with Coca-Cola. So all you have to do is add Coca-Cola, 20-ounce Coca-Cola to the box cake and bake it. It is the best thing ever. They saw it online. It was a social media trend. And I am thinking 2 highly processed foods, large quantities of caffeine, large quantities of sugar, and we are having a cake being made. So please be mindful of the trends. Don't follow them. Use your discretion, I should say, when following them. And for the adults, please, when you all are seeing some of these trends where people are giving little little things saying, well, this rel worked for me and whatnot, don't go and try to make any concoction and have it. It could counteract the medication you're using, and it could have very negative effects on the body as well, right? So these are my 4 little points for today, and really it is about your food choices. I always tell everybody, sometimes when you do a lecture, people will say, oh God, well, I could really eat, boy, or I could really drink. But it's not a matter of, you have to stop eating all of these things. It's a matter of everything in moderation, nothing in excess. So you are having the highly processed foods. I mean, you're going to have it at some point. You think it tastes good. Make sure that, okay, it's maybe once a week. You cut down on the amount. You're buying out a day or once a week. Try not to have a lot of convenience foods in that week if you're purchasing out, because really you don't know a lot of these fast food restaurants. You really don't know how they are preparing those foods, what type of oil they're using, what sorts of ingredients they put into your food. So if you're buying out, little changes is really all that it takes. You're going to cut down on the sugar-based soft drinks and so on. And have more water, great. But don't opt for, the flavored water. Try to have more of your water. And try the healthy plate and see if it works for you. That is a really good guide for portion control, I would say, right? The healthy plate gives you a really good idea. And also, just remember, everything is in moderation and nothing in excess. That's the key to a healthy lifestyle. That's the key to everything in life, actually. So I hope these points were very helpful to you, and I hope you all might be able to implement something as you go about planning meals and making food choices. So thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, Shivani. Now, I know we have, normally persons may want to ask a question, but I'm looking at the time. I will invite 2 questions, and Amral will be the one to choose those 2 persons. There's a portable mic here, and as he makes his way up, so we're having just 2 questions, and those persons who may have questions other than what is being asked, please, you can see Shivani after, because we're staying back to do the cleanup, don't forget. And so you have enough time to ask after. So 2 questions only, please.
Check. How many persons have questions? Only 2 so far?
We only have 2.
All right.
Just want to ask about soya.
Okay, so soya is really derived from soybeans. So it's really a texturized protein. So what do you want to ask me about soya? Right, so it is processed. I wouldn't say it's very harmful. It's actually a good protein source, but some vegetarians tend to have it. It's really the amount you're having in terms of how often you have it for the week. I wouldn't really recommend more than 1 time for the week when it comes to soya, 1 to 2 times for the month, because yes, it is a processed type of food, right?
Sitaram, just want to go back to your healthy plate. A lot of us here are vegetarians, so we don't eat the meat. So I don't like tofu, and I was going to ask about the soya, but I just wanted to find out now with regard to the plant-based protein. I want to know what is the bioavailability of it? I mean, how helpful is that to replace it? Because there's so many different things, whether it's hot dogs or, I don't want to endorse any fast food place, but you have plant-based nuggets.
Yeah.
And those things I actually saw like pretty high grams of protein in it. I just want to know how good is that protein as opposed to some of the other substitutes.
Okay, so most of the plant-based products are what we call texturized protein. So basically they'll put them under high pressure and they stretch them and then they form this textured protein. Now I just want to say one thing, in some cases they don't use the legumes and nuts, what they do is they use the gluten from flour. Because if you stretch flour, if you put water into flour and you knead it, and then you wash it, you'll actually get that kind of meaty consistency. So in most cases, the plant-based options that are available, you have to, there are quite a few on the market, from sausages to veggie meatballs to veggie chicken and all of these things, right? Look at your list of ingredients and see what is the major source of protein. It must be from legumes and nuts. If you're seeing anything like enriched flour or any sort of emulsifier and so on, most of the times they're using fillers, which are man-made to give it that protein texture. Now, in terms of the availability of protein, you will get better sources from the actual legumes and nuts. So things like chana and so on, you will get good sources. Now, paneer would also be an option, right? But paneer is made from milk and cheese, so it tends to have a lot of cholesterol there as well. So always read the list of ingredients. If the first ingredient is of a legume and nut, you would be having good sources of protein from that. With regards to the sausages, I would always caution to be mindful of those because they would use the same coloring pigment they would use for regular sausages, which is nitrates and nitrites, and those have carcinogenic properties. So lean more on the side of those, don't try to have too much of those sausages and so on. You could have more of the meatballs. They have good meatballs, vegetarian options, they do have some, but you just have to make sure within your first 3 ingredients, it must have a legume and nut source, which is where they will derive that protein from. If you're seeing flour or something, then for sure they're using gluten from flour-based products and fillers. But in terms of getting the amino acids and your B12 and so on, I would always recommend just having the legumes and nuts. At least most of it, because I know it is very difficult to just have a carb and legumes and nuts and so on. So, you know, you try to, for most part, you try to have more of those.
Thank you very much, Shivani. And I think those are our 2 questions. So thank you all very much. But please feel free. I'm sure she will be open to any questions. This was very enlightening. I myself have many questions, but I will ask her after in terms of the message that was delivered. So we now invite you to come forward to offer your arti before Bhagwan for the next 20 minutes or so before we conclude this morning service.
चित चोरा यशोदा के पार नवनीत चोर गोपाल नवनीत चोर गोपाल चित चोरा यशोदा के पार नवनीत चोर गोपाल
छोड़ा यशोदा की बात नवनीत छोड़ गोपाल
गोपाल गोपाल
गोपाल गोपाल
गोपाल गोपाल
गोपाल गोपाल
गोवर्धन धर गोपाल
गोपाल
यशोदा के बाल नवनीत चोर गोपाल
चित चोरा यशोदा की बात नवनीत चोर गोपाल
गोपाल गोपाल
गोपाल गोपाल
गोपाल गोपाल
गोपाल गोपाल
गोपाल गोपर धन धर गोपाल
गोपाल गोबर धन धन गोपाल
हे गिरिधर गोपाला हे गिरिधर गोपाला हे गिरिधर गोपाला
हे गिरिधर गोपाला हे गिरिधर गोपाला हे गिरिधर गोपाला
जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला
जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला
चित चोरा यशोदा के बाल नवनीत चोर गोपाल
चित चोरा यशोदा की बात नवनीत चोर गोपाल
नवनीत चोर गोपाल
नवनीत चोर गोपाल
जय गोविंदा गोपाला मनमोहन श्याम कन्हैया मुरलीधर गोपाला घनश्याम नंद की लाला जय गोविंदा गोपाला मनमोहन श्याम कन्हैया मुरलीधर गोपाला घनश्याम नंद की लाला जलपालक तो रासर छैया गोवर्धन गिरिधारी कितने नाम तेरे नटवर तू सावल कृष्ण मुरारी
जलपालक तो रासर छैया गोवर्धन गिरधारी इतने नाम तेरे नटवर तू सावल कृष्ण मुरारी
मोर मुकुट मनवर ने हरहारी हर बचबाला
मुरलीधर गोपाला घनश्याम नंद की लाला जय गोविंदा गोपाला मनमोहन श्याम कन्हैया मुरलीधर गोपाला घनश्याम नंद की लाला
तू ही सागर है रमता तू ही धरती पाताल जग में घट में और जगत में तेरी जय जयकार
तू ही सागर है रमता तू ही धरती पाताल जग में घट में और जगत में तेरी जय जयकार
मेरे मन मंदिर में स्वामी तुझसे है उजियारा
मुरलीधर गोपाला घनश्याम नंद की लाला जय गोविंदा गोपाला मनमोहन श्याम कन्हैया मुरलीधर गोपाला घनश्याम नंद की लाला
जिसका कोई नहीं इस जग में उसका मीत कन्हैया मन से बजैया रास रचैया काली नारी रचैया
जिसका कोई नहीं इस जग में उसका भी रचैया काली नाग रचैया।
राजा होगा तेर भिखारी सबका तू रखवाला।
मुरलीधर गोपाला घनश्याम नंद के लाला। जय गोविंदा गोपाला मनमोहन श्याम कन्हैया। मुरलीधर गोपाला घनश्याम नंद के लाला। जय गोविंदा गोपाला मनमोहन श्याम कन्हैया। मुरलीधर गोपाला घनश्याम नंद के लाला। मुरलीधर गोपाला घनश्याम नंद के लाला। मुरलीधर गोपाला घनश्याम नंद के लाला।
छोटे गैया छोटे छोटे ग्वाल। छोटे छोटे
गैया छोटे छोटे ग्वाल।
छोटे छोटे गैया छोटे छोटे ग्वाल।
छोटी छोटी गैया छोटे छोटे ग्वाल।
छोटो सो मेरो मदन गोपाल।
अरे छोटो सो मेरो मदन गोपाल।
छोटो सो मेरो मदन गोपाल।
अरे छोटो सो मेरो मदन गोपाल।
आगे आगे गैया पीछे पीछे ग्वाल।
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 बीच में मेरो मदन गोपाल।
अरे बीच में मेरो मदन गोपाल। छोटे छोटे गैया छोटे छोटे ग्वाल। छोटे छोटे गैया छोटे छोटे ग्वाल।
छोटो सो मेरो मदन गोपाल।
अरे छोटो सो मेरो मदन गोपाल।
छोटे गैया छोटे छोटे ग्वाल।
छोटे छोटे गैया छोटे छोटे ग्वाल।
छोटो सो मेरो मदन गोपाल।
अरे छोटो सो मेरो मदन गोपाल।
काड़ी काड़ी गैया गोरे गोरे ग्वाल।
काली काली गैया गोरे गोरे ग्वाल।
काड़ी काड़ी गैया गोरे गोरे ग्वाल।
काली काली गैया गोरे गोरे ग्वाल।
श्याम वरण मेरो मदन गोपाल।
अरे श्याम वरण मेरो मदन गोपाल।
छोटे छोटे गैया छोटे छोटे ग्वाल।
छोटे छोटे गैया छोटे छोटे ग्वाल।
छोटो सो मेरो मदन गोपाल।
अरे छोटो सो मेरो मदन गोपाल।
घास खावे गैया दूध पिए ग्वाल।
घास खावे गैया दूध पिए ग्वाल।
घास खावे गैया
छोटे छोटे ख्वाब 1400 मेरो मदन गोपाल अरे 1400 मेरो मदन गोपाल 1400 मेरो मदन गोपाल अरे 1400 मेरो मदन गोपाल
प्रेम से बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय. As we commence our announcements, I'd invite the teacher of our Bal Vihara class, Mrs. Shivma Maharaj, to give us a little bit of information for the upcoming event on the 31st of August.
Sitaram, everybody. So, as you know, this Saturday coming will be our movie night for the children's class. First of all, thank you to all of those who have donated and bought tickets. I'm here today, so I'll be right there. So I'm hoping that whoever hasn't had a chance to purchase tickets yet will purchase. Even if you don't think you could make it because it's a holiday and you have plans, any donations will be greatly appreciated. Again, it is Saturday the 31st, which is Independence Day. Starts at 4. We shouldn't go past 6 o'clock. Because it is the children's class, it is obviously a children's movie. So we're also asking you to share with anyone who you know may have kids, because we're also using it as a way to kickstart our Bal Vihar term. So we'll be doing registration packages for incoming Bal Vihar students at the movie night as well. So that would include T-shirts and their books and everything to get them prepared for the start of the Bal Vihar term in September. So we hope to see you all here. We just have a brief trailer of the movie. Sitaram, thank you.
3, 2, 1. Astra! I'm here! Whew, just 1 second. Let me catch my breath.
Once upon a time stood Rosas, the most magical kingdom, founded by a king with the power to grant wishes.
Wonderful movie and event. We can have some fellowship and enjoy the movie at the same time. So I will indulge you for a couple moments with regard to our regular announcements. First of all, let me once more extend a very special welcome to each and every one of you this morning. Those of you who are back with us after some period of absence, we extend a very warm welcome to you all and look forward to seeing you with us each and every Sunday morning from 8:30 to 10 a.m. Those of you who are viewing us online, we look forward to seeing you in person once circumstances permit again. But if you are unable to do so, then please join with us either on YouTube or on Facebook each and every Sunday morning. Those persons who are interested in sitting for Hawan or for Puja on a Sunday morning, I invite you to please contact Mrs. Rama Sharma Umrao, who is back with us after a little break, and you can give your names to her and she can make the necessary arrangements with me for you on a Sunday morning. As well, if you would like to make any donations of cash or kind to the Mandir, we would invite you to see either the chairman, the treasurer, Mr. Roger Bisoon, or Mrs. Umrao as well. Very important announcements coming up. So let me start with housekeeping first. We still are pleading with you, those persons who have outstanding sheets for the Bhajan Amrit. We really need you to bring them in, notwithstanding whatever may or may not be on it, but we must have all sheets in order to close off that account. And the delay in bringing that in is really hampering us closing it off and announcing it to the congregation. So any person who may be viewing us online, for whatever reason, maybe you may have misplaced the sheet or whatever, please let us know. Please bring in the sheets so that we can close off that account as soon as possible. As you would have noticed, many persons are dressed in irregular attire, meaning not usual Sunday morning, myself included. It's not the white usual kurta I would wear. And we are having a cleanup drive right after service. So we expect to be from 10 to 12. Those of you who may not be aware, but you're finding out for the first time, your presence and participation is still welcome. Basically, we are focusing mainly on the inside of the mandir from the altar come down. And that entails like wiping off the benches and polishing them, polishing the wooden items such as the podium, the various cupboards, cleaning the cupboards, the singhasan and the board, all of the wooden areas we have polished and cloth. These are things that are not done on a regular basis by our cleaners. So we're not sweeping and mopping the floors and things of that. We also want to do the louvers and other things. So we will be giving you specific directions. We don't expect to be longer than 12 noon, and lunch has been provided for all persons, and I can assure Shivani it is well balanced. It has all of the necessary things, including a salad, and it is something that we can all partake of before we leave in time, well in advance, for persons who want to see the 3 o'clock cricket game. So we're inviting all of you to be part of the cleanup drive. Mrs. Sinanan will be directing us as to the various areas, various teams, so that we can all get this done very quickly and efficiently. So that's right after the service at 10. If you're viewing us online and you want to come down and help us out, no problem, please do so. Walk with your bucket and pieces of cloth. Next Sunday, that's the 1st of September, we will be bringing the Murti of Ganesh Bhagwan here to the Mandir. As we speak now, the Murti is being completed at the Vishnu Mandir in Esperance Village in preparation for Ganesh Utsav celebrations. And the Murti will be brought here via procession, vehicle procession that is. And we're inviting you to congregate, those persons who would like to meet us at the Mandir in Esperance at 7:30, 7:30 in the morning there. So by the time we complete our pratna and so on there and get on the way, we should be here just after 8:30. So we will be coming along that way. So the Murti will be brought here next Sunday, Ganesh Bhagwan, that is, in anticipation of the Ganesh Utsav. And on that note, Ganesh Utsav, as we know, will commence on Friday, 6th September with the Pran Pratishta, which will be at 10 a.m. Then we will have evening satsangs and offerings, that is your individual and family pujas, and that will be on the 7th, 8th, and 9th. We already have persons to lead that, so everybody is taking part, but there's usually a family or individual who would lead and would have all of the necessary items such as malas and so on. So we already have persons committed for all of the nights except the Monday. So if you know you or your family would like to lead that night of evening satsang and offering, that's on Monday, the 9th of September. Please give your name to Mrs. Umrao. Also, the Yagya then begins on the 10th. That is Tuesday, the 10th of September. And we go straight through until the 14th of September. And there are still available dates, the 10th and the 11th. So the first and second nights are open currently, again, for your family members or individuals who would like to lead. The other 3 nights are already taken. So let us know by today if you are interested in leading the puja for the yagya. We have various Pandits who will be sitting as the Vyas for the different nights, including our own Pandit Devendra, Pandit Abhidanand Prasad Sharma, Pandit Jishnu, Pandit Rajendranath Maharaj, and others who will be with us on the 5 nights. We conclude the last night of the yagya is Saturday the 14th, and the Visarjan ceremony, in an effort to include everyone and to do things in a safe manner, will be held on Sunday the 15th of September, so it's a Sunday. And we expect our final puja will start here at 9, so that we can start the procession leaving by about 10:30 to 11 latest. And we are going straight down to the Flat Rock area where we will do the immersion. We are not walking, but we are going by vehicles because of where on Flat Rock we are going. But it is a place that you can park safely, and there will not be undue traffic at that hour and on that day. And so persons can participate in the Visarjan ceremony. And what we will do is, because we're finishing at around 12, we will be distributing at that location meals and refreshments so persons can take away and then return to their homes after we've concluded. Bearing in mind that Ganesh Utsav itself, for those of you who are doing your pujas at home and want to go for the entirety, will finish on Tuesday. So if you want to continue doing your individual worship, you can do that, or you can bring your murtis and you can do the immersion then. Some people get the impression that you can't immerse before the final day, and that's not correct. You can immerse on any of the days during the Utsav period. So just by way of information on the Ganesh Utsav. You've already heard about the Balvihar program, and the movie night. That will be on Saturday coming, and again, I urge you to patronize and to attend, and that's from 4 p.m. on the 31st. Janmashtami, as I've been saying, is being observed tomorrow. So that is the 26th. And we are starting our program from 8 p.m. We are inviting you to come from 8 or even just before Security will be provided, as well as parking will be available on the school compound, so you can park your vehicles there to ensure that your peace of mind is not affected thinking about what's happening outside. And from 8 to about 9, we will be having pravachan by Pandit Devendra. We will be having invocation and opening prayer. We will be having as well kirtan. And from 9 or thereabouts, we will start Palana Puja, particularly for those persons who cannot stay on with us for midnight. So persons who, for whatever reason, you feel you can't stay on for the midnight, we will be facilitating persons to do their offering and Palana Puja from 9. And then once that is complete, which we hope to cut off by about 10, we continue again with kirtan and with japam and so on. Rana Mohip, Suzanne Mohip and group will be with us, and they will be rendering wonderful bhajan and kirtan. And we hope that you, together with members of our group, so all members of the group are on notice that they will also be with us from 8 straight on. And we will then again have Palana Puja from 12 midnight for those persons who want to stay at that time and who would like to do their puja at that time. What do you need to bring? Flowers and your prasadam. Those are the only two things. If you don't have that, then just come and you can make your offering as well. Mostly important is your devotion to Bhagwan. So we look forward to seeing you all with us tomorrow from 8 p.m. right here at the Mandir as we observe Krishna Janmashtami. As I conclude, I want to wish birthday greetings to all persons who may be celebrating their birthday, or persons who would have celebrated their birthday, like Indira Maharaj, who celebrated her birthday on Friday. So we want to wish Indira belated birthday greetings, and any other persons who may be celebrating their anniversaries. And finally, two things. The book drive that Krishna is leading, if you please see him, we have several book lists, and if you have any of the books from your children or grandchildren that can fit the bill, you can donate those second-hand books so that we can assist. Now, if you want to make a contribution, we have a few and these are persons who have not been afforded the book grant. These are persons who are in need, and these are persons who Krishna is, and his team are leading to do the presentation this week, if possible, so that they can have it in time for when school reopens on the 2nd. And there was one final announcement I wanted to make before I spoke about Krishna, but then I forgot as I spoke about him. So I will end at this point and invite you all now to stand for final arti and closing prayer.
जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे भक्त जनों के संकट दास जनों के संकट क्षण में दूर करे ओम जय जगदीश हरे ध्यावे भल पावे दुख बिन से मन का स्वामी दुख बिन से मन का सुख संपत्ति घर आवे सुख संपत्ति घर आवे कष्ट मिटे तन का ओम जय जगदीश हरे मात पिता तुम मेरे शरण गहो किसकी स्वामी शरण गहो किसकी तुम बिन और न दूजा तुम बिन और न दूजा आश करो जिसकी ओम जय जगदीश हरे तुम पूरन परमात्मा तुम अंतर्यामी स्वामी तुम अंतर्यामी पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर तुम सबके स्वामी ओम जय जगदीश हरे तुम करुणा के सागर तुम सबके प्राणपति स्वामी सबके प्राणपति किस विधि मिलो दया में किस विधि मिलो दया में तुम हो मैं कुमति ओम जय जगदीश हरे दीन बंधु दुख हरता तुम रक्षक मेरे स्वामी तुम रक्षक मेरे अपने हाथ उठाओ अपने हाथ उठाओ द्वार पर मेरे ओम जय जगदीश हरे ओम जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे भक्त जनों के संकट दास जनों के संकट क्षण में दूर करे ओम जय जगदीश हरे ओम जय जगदीश हरे ओम जय जगदीश हरे
Hari Om. As we conclude in prayer this morning, we collectively offer prayer for the family of the late Pandit Devkinanand Sharma, who passed away recently, for the blessings of Bhagwan Krishna on his Atma. This is an individual who has made a tremendous impact on the culture, Indian culture in this country, and on Hinduism in this country as well. We pray that Lord Krishna showers blessings upon his Atma. O Prabhu, you are mother and father, you are family, you are friend. You are knowledge, you are wealth, you are everything to us all. We surrender ourselves to you. Hari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Cha Seka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. प्रेम से बोले श्री गणेश भगवान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, आज शक्ति जगदम्बा देवी मैया की जय, श्री पवनपुत्र हनुमान की जय, बिंद्रावन बिहारी लाल की जय, प्रेम से बोले श्री सच्चे सनातन धर्म की जय. Tend to this around you, sab koi jai jai Sitaram. Two things. Firstly, let me extend congratulations to all of our young devotees, students who received their results in both CSEC and in CAPE. We have several of them here. I want to acknowledge there's Vineet, there's Nivedita, there's Nicholas, and there's Devesh, and they performed all of them excellently. So please give them a round of applause. May Saraswati Mata continue to bless them with continued success. And then finally, as we've announced before, the Ram Leela undertaking or celebration is still on. You will be hearing more information about that in the coming weeks. And we are looking forward to all of the children and the younger ones and older ones as well participating. You'll be hearing more from members of that planning team from next week onwards. Jai Sitaram, everyone. Please stay behind now for the cleanup campaign.